Next, we got Roosevelt out in Midway.
Excellent. Hey, Roosevelt.
Al, thank you for taking my call, my friend.
Absolutely.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm solid.
Al,
You know, I'm a little tired, but I'll be all right. Go ahead.
I'm going to be super brief. As far as Steve Bannon, isn't that the topic is the related crimes? Isn't that similar to what Trump did in the state of New York, as far as taking in money and using it for his own
Yes.
Private purposes? And
Yes.
isn't it the same thing that Wayne LaPierre did?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's how they run.
Right.
That's how they exist as a you know, as a ruling party. The Republicans do this. They think this is part of the spoils of winning the political war, is that you get to loot the coffers. None of them want to function in government to start with. So why would they want tax dollars to go where they're supposed to?
Yeah, and Hal, I believe we're in number 9 as far as the number of Trump swamp creatures. We have Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Michael Cohen, Michael Flynn, Rick Gates,
Yeah.
George Nader, George Papadopoulos, Trump himself, because he was impeached.
Right.
Rudy Giuliani isn't Rudy under investigation
Yes,
also
he is.
for what he did in right, there you go. I mentioned LaPierre. And another one of his buddies is, let's not forget, Netanyahu out in
Right.
Israel.
Which
So
is partly why he's playing footsie with the UAE right now and trying to use that as a win and use them as leverage against the Palestinians. He just gave I almost swore on the air. He just gave a ton of ground to the center in Israel, basically to keep the investigators off his back. He ceded some ground in this UAE deal temporarily, although largely to try and get them to like, oh, no, he's moderating his views. So if we get rid of him, you know, they might replace him with somebody even hardliner. So yeah, absolutely. This is a pushback for him that Trump is helping him with.
And the second half of my conversation, Hal, I'll be brief, like I said before, is the double standard. Remember when they used to say about Obama golfing? That's where he's at right now. Trump is golfing. In the meantime, California is going up in flames, and it doesn't do anything.
Well, that's because they're not sweeping their floors, right?
Yeah, and as far as guilt by association, remember Reverend Wright and all the blew up, their heads blew up and everything. And not to mention that this man doesn't help any state that doesn't have in other words,
his supporters. If the governor of a state doesn't kiss his ass, you didn't get any PPE in the beginning when there was limited supply. So before New York or any of these, or Michigan or California could band together and start supplying each other with stuff, which is what they are doing now. Oregon giving ventilators to New York, California helping out with a giant purchase of PPE and spreading it out across the country as a part of a governor's network. Before all that started, the U.S. government, the federal government, was the only place that you could get a bunch of this stuff in an emergency, which they were expecting this, in large number. They're basically flooded hospitals. Before they could count on that, from any other source, you had to kiss Trump's ass or you wouldn't get any. And he keeps going back to all the times when they had to kiss his ass as an example of how much great work he's been doing with the governors. Not the honest talk that they started having after they were able to get it from other sources. Because if you didn't kiss his butt, you wouldn't get the stuff.